What is up, RotoGrinders? The start of an hour and 40 minutes of nonstop MLB DFS conversation. First pitch a little bit earlier than normal. Just a 5-gamer, kind of an appetizer slate. If you listen really, really closely, you can actually hear the slate being flipped on its head because Chris Sale has a speculation, as confirmation in the chat. The one pitcher that maybe like more than one, I don't know. I think the over-under was one pitcher we liked and trusted today. Is no longer throwing baseballs. He's scratched. He's going to be throwing baseballs tomorrow. He'll be replaced by Bryce Elder. So, yeah, and that just happened, and we'll have the conversation. But Keith Eister can help us figure this out. Kirkwood's here as well, Kid Yahoo. Keith, what is our immediate reaction? Somebody said, I love this slate. And then, without Sale, though, it's like Sale was fun to play with, 4 or 5 other guys and just hopefully get the right combination. Where are we at now?
I am extremely tilted because I really like this slate. I thought I had a great angle to attack it. I was going to lock Sale, just play him in 100% of lineups. I maxed the $3 today because I was like, there's just not a better option than Chris Sale. Even if he gets roughed up a little bit, he's probably the highest scoring pitcher on the slate. And then I had a pretty big fade stance that I was going to take. Andrew Abbott looking like the second highest owned pitcher on the slate, and I'm not sold on him whatsoever digging into some of the underlying stuff. So I was fully prepared to lock in Chris Sale and go full fade on Andrew Abbott and then do whatever else I wanted pretty much with the rest of my bats. So obviously I need a new game plan, as does everybody else, but this is a lot less fun of a slate now, in my opinion.
Chris Sale was 60% owned projected on DK, and I would have taken the over on that. If you're going to force me to pick over or under, I would have taken over 59-60%. Kirkwood, your thoughts on the slates, your thoughts as far as the slate flipping on its head, the absence of Chris Sale. I thought the Abbott fade was interesting. I thought you were going to say John Gray as well. I was like, well, maybe it's John Gray because he's been a disaster too. And you could also make that bold fade. And he's now going to be 35% owned or something. I don't know. We'll see what our numbers are. But that 60% has to go someplace. And it's probably going to be Abbott and Gray, I think. Kirkwood, your assessment, your thoughts, immediate thoughts as far as this Sale news breaking as we go on air.
Yeah, I'm trying to look up how Elder's been doing at AAA. I am also the whole thing's messed up because ownership's not going to be nearly the same at all because all the lineups were tailored to building, for a high price Chris Sale, which we don't have anymore. So some of these value plays aren't going to be as needed. I got to start crunching a lot of things here, but we'll figure it out.
The other interesting thing is that the most expensive pitcher on DK now is Gavin Williams, 8.5, his second start of the season. Did not look good his first start. Abbott at 8.2, Daniel, who's just been around for a couple starts, Paddock, who's just coming back. Everybody's got you want to poke some holes? We got some holes that need to be poked. And you can play last man standing, but really none of it's really good. John Gray has been a disaster. He is facing the Angels. Now, there is news. There's speculation that Anthony Rendon's going to come back tonight. So that might change everything for the Angels lineup. He's supposed to play this evening. They're not as good against righties. They're not that great as is. Flexen versus Minnesota. Diaz. Diaz is one of the most interesting guys I think we'll talk about. I thought that was one of those where you get on both ends. You play Atlanta and you play Diaz. I think I want to say Dave Potts, he comped him, as a possibility of a Luis Heel type. And if you look at the minor league stuff, he's a prospect, a lot of Ks, a lot of walks. And I thought he was interesting as a flyer. Feltner in Cincinnati, you don't feel good about it, but it was cheap. And Montero is another guy who might be okay. We'll see. Taking on a Cleveland team you don't really want to pick on. But, I'm curious. It's a tough task now for the projection team. Keith, I imagine you're not on projections. They wouldn't do that to you, right? You're not doing both double duty?
No, not on projections today.
Yeah. Oh, Butto wants a movie clue. That's right. It is Movie Monday. Get excited. People love Movie Monday. I will give a first clue for our Movie Monday. First clue is, and we'll have producer Steve go ahead and drop it on the scroll. First clue is core.
Don Yeezy. Did Don Yeezy get it?
What, on that one word, you think? Did he already guess in chat? Let me guess. He said Brokeback Mountain. It is not Brokeback Mountain. On the very last one,
hell of a guess. I thought so too. I thought it was too.
He's martingaling it. It's due. There's a lot of movies, so it's going to take a while to get there. Yeah, the first clue is core. That's CORE. There will be 5 clues. If you guys are not aware, you can get yourself a week free of RG Premium. How do you go about doing that? You tell me what movie we're talking about. How do you tell me? Where do you tell me? Not in the YouTube chat. You can guess there for funsies, sure. But for it to be official, you have to guess in the Discord channel, RotoGrinders.com/Discord, the live stream chat channel. You have 1 guess per clue. Use those guesses wisely. You know what? I didn't even tell producer Steve the answer. So he's going to be keeping an eye on that chat. I'll keep an eye on it as well. But I imagine nobody binked it. But let's see if anybody happened to do it on the first clue. And then I get very upset if you guys get a hole-in-one on me. But by the way, smash the over on the hole references. I think we already hit the over several times, just about a few minutes into the show. It is a 5-gamer, so we have just an hour, plenty of time. Typically an hour and 15 minutes, but Slate starts earlier as well. We also have no official weather report. If you're looking for that, Roth is in Texas. Texas was hit with a hurricane. So hopefully Roth and everybody in Texas is doing all right. I've not seen the footage. I've not seen any updates. Hopefully everything is okay, all things considered. But we don't have anything weather-wise. You took a peek, Kirkwood. What do we see as far as the weather this evening? Anything we should be concerned with as of right now? Not so much?
I see nothing. It was producer Steve said a slight chance of rain in Cincinnati, but looks fine to me.
Okay. All right. And I see who's coming on later. Looks like Tim and Dave Potts. And all right, not sure who is hosting. I do see, unless I didn't get an update in the email, looks like the email was sent to Roth, but I do not believe it's going to be wrong. It's not Armageddon, though. That's a pretty good guess from Brado. But also, again, just in case you happen to be right, you would not collect because you have to guess in the Discord channel. You're just getting your reps in the YouTube. If you're hanging out on YouTube, what's up? Thanks for joining the show. Hit that like button. Do subscribe. Do turn on those notifications. Do all those things to help us keep the lights on. TJ is coming in for Roth. TJ and his Spidey bombs. By the way, TJ on the weekends, I don't want to say he besmirches. So what he does is he'll say like, hey, this chat is amazing. You guys do a spectacular job hitting the like button. I don't know what it is with the weekends, which is almost kind of like throwing some shade at like the weekday crowd. So if you guys going to take that from TJ, you show him and hit that like button because he's always praising how great the crowd is during the weekends, which is, I kind of shade at me too. I feel a little bit of shade, but yeah, he's hit those Spidey bombs. I imagine he's got some Spidey bombs for the people as well. So once he jumps on, hopefully you hit that threshold and we can unleash. There's only so many options today because just 10 teams playing baseball. All right, giving some time to our projection guys. If you guys happen to see if the projection team is updated, I'm going to keep refreshing on and on and on. But we'll see.
I got a great idea.
Okay.
Since TJ is so, he wears many hats, right? He's trying to do a lot of things. I say we get him to do a little quick University of Phoenix meteorology. What do you think?
Well, are you going to trust his forecasting?
Yeah.
Like more so than anybody else's?
No, I'm just saying if there's times when Roth isn't around, then like this in these emergencies, we've got a meteorologist on backup, on standby.
Well, I think this is
from the University of Phoenix.
Well, what I feel like you're besmirching the University of Phoenix by what you're saying here.
It's probably pretty good. I don't know anything. I just remember when it first came out.
Yeah.
Just a convenience thing. It's online, so he can do it from home. He doesn't have to go anywhere. It makes sense.
It's a good idea, right?
Yeah.
They're all around the country, I believe. I mean, you are. I think you're in the Phoenix area, Keith. Have you driven by the actual University of Phoenix?
There is a campus downtown. I've never toured it or anything, but I have seen the buildings. Yes.
Derek in chat is saying I'm not a meteorologist, but I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, so maybe we'll take Derek's forecast. There you go. And yeah, Tim is asking what is wrong with the University of Phoenix. I don't know, but all right.
I never said anything wrong. I was saying it was convenient, and we get him. We get that for our boy here.
Well, he's not going to get his degree in the next 35 minutes. I don't think it definitely works that quickly.
I think if you just pay enough.
Maybe that might. I don't know. I've not applied. I went to the very prestigious University of Central Florida. Don't you know? All right. Go Knights. I think we have. We got a new batch. We don't have ownership stuff, but we do have at least a projection for Bryce Elder Ownership's going to come up soon enough, I'm sure, but they're working on it as we speak. Elder's projection, 92 pitches, about 11 DK points for what it's worth, which is in between Chris Flexen and Chris Paddock. It's all sorts of. That's a good question. He's 8K, which I don't want to pay 8K for him.
Sorry, buddy.
Yeah, I don't think I want to pay 8K for him. It's not a question of how much ownership he gets. It's more like where does that 60% go? And man, it's going to go to Abbott. He's going to be like 50%, and like kind of what you're alluding to, Keith. That's horrible chalk, right? Isn't Andrew hypothetically if Abbott's like 50% owned, which he kind of has to be.
He's going to be more than that now. He was going to be 40% with Chris Sale on the slate. Like,
okay, yeah.
He's going to be
so that's the point.
I think. Yeah.
Do you think you're still going to have that stand of just still Xing him out altogether?
I think I am. I'm debating it. Like, obviously, it's a much harder decision now because I don't have 50% of my pitcher spots locked up with one pitcher.
Yeah.
I don't like this spot for him. If you dig into the underlying metrics, like he has a 232 BABIP, an 85.5% strain rate. His swinging strike rate is 8%, so it's not like we're expecting more strikeouts to suddenly pop up out of the woodwork. He has a 49% fly ball rate, I think, 49.7% fly ball rate in Great American Ballpark. Like, I know the Rockies are not good, but
that's the retort. But the Rockies.
Yes, but the Rockies. Yes, they strike out a lot, but I don't know. Ladder his strikeout prop and fade him in DFS is my strategy. Like, if he strikes out 9 guys and he beats me, at least I'll hit the strikeout prop. But I don't like this. I don't think it's a good matchup for him. If you look at the Rockies' barrel rates against lefties, they're actually pretty solid. Sure, there's a lot of strikeouts in there, so there's huge risk. But you've got Tovar at 14.7%, McMahon at 9%, Doyle at 9%, Toglia at 16%, and Hunter Goodman at 16.7%. So, like, those are legitimate barrel rates. Yeah, they're going to strike out, but I think they could also do a lot of damage against a fly ball pitcher in Great American Ballpark.
What can you tell me about Aaron Schunk? Batting 9th today for the Rockies.
Not a thing.
I don't think he's a prospect. I'm pretty sure
he's a little slap hitter, and I don't even. He stinks.
Why would he be in the Colorado system? 26 years old. Yeah, I don't see. He's got a little bit of power, a little bit of speed, in his history. In 2022, 14 homers, 6 stolen bases, 23, 14, and 12. This year, 7 and 11. He's done nothing so far in his little cup of coffee in the majors, but just kind of noticed his existence. But yeah, he's almost 27, less than a month from turning 27. That's a bad sign as a general thought. Yeah, not a prospect here, but he is playing and cheap, and it's a short slate. All right. Your assessment here, Kirkwood, I assume you're going to be on sale. You make your one main lineup. I assume you would be part of it. What's the scramble mode now? What's plan B as far as pitchers?
I'm fine with Abbott personally. I mean, I can poke a hole in every single pitcher on the slate. So it's just like we're just trying to poke holes. It's literally comes down to who's facing the Rockies. So if you think that that's overvalued, that matchup is overvalued, then I get it. But I mean, they strike out a lot, and like a lot of his metrics aren't against teams like as bad as the Rockies. So I think I get it from an ownership standpoint, but I think ownership is still going to get spread out all over the place. But he'll be the most chalk. He'll be the chalkiest. John Gray is spitting in like every optimizer.
Yeah, he's been terrible too.
The chalk's going to be Gray and Abbott. I think that's correct.
Well, that's terrible. So something has to be chalk, but like no matter what the chalk is, it will be terrible chalk. Like pick any one or two guys, right? Whoever rises.
Well, like how terrible can it be when it's facing the Rockies?
Yeah. None of it's comfortable. It's different degrees of lack of comfort. I don't know what to do, and I focus mostly on like single entry, 3 entry max stuff. So that's where like the chalk is going to be more popular. So we're talking about Andrew Abbott being like, I don't know, 65% owned, 70% owned in single entry contests, which is outrageous. But I think that's what it's going to be.
I would just rather take shots on all of the other pitchers at much, much less ownership. Like,
I'm all about Gilbert.
Yeah, me too.
I'm in on that too. Yeah.
He struck out 13 in his last AAA start and 6 no-hit innings in his debut here. Like, he's got walk problems too. So I am on board with Gilbert all over the place. But again, we don't really need it. Like you can take. So we're just gonna have to figure out who we like. I guess we should. Today should be the day where we like rank the pitchers in the
Well,
tiers.
I mean, there's only 10 of them. You're welcome to rank them. However you want to rank them. I don't love any of it, but you have to roster 2. And like ownership not standing, sure, I would play Abbott as well, but I think it's a really, really interesting spot to at least get under on him. It feels really gross. I keep refreshing. I'm sure we're gonna get an ownership batch shortly, but I'm really curious where our projections land. That'll be coming in soon enough. I should go ahead and drop the second clue. I see many people have already thrown out some options. Brandon saying Jurassic Park. It's not Jurassic Park. Eagles Nation says Armageddon. Deep Impact thrown out there. Peterman saying Platoon. It's not Platoon, but I get it. The second, I'm not going to make it that easy on the first one. The second clue is Rising. Core and Rising are the first 2 clues for Movie Monday. Get in the Discord. Win yourself a week free of RG Premium. So, Keith, if we're not playing the chalk, whatever it may be, and we're expecting it to be the Abbots, we're expecting to be Gray. We're playing less of. I shouldn't say not, right? Who are the pitchers that we're going to be well above ownership when it finally comes in that you're expecting? One. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm totally with Kirkwood on the Gilbert Diaz. He's really cheap in their strikeout upside here. Atlanta is a middle of the road offense with the injuries that they've dealt with. Yes, there's a lot of power risk here, but there's also strikeout upside. There's some strikeouts in the Atlanta lineup. We don't necessarily need the salary now that we're not spending up for sale, but he's really cheap for his upside. So I was planning to go, and still am planning to go way overweight on Gilbert Diaz. The other guy I think is going to be really underowned for his potential upside, and we haven't seen his upside in the majors yet. But Gavin Williams last season was one of the very best pitching prospects in baseball. He has not translated his strikeout stuff from the minors to the majors up to this point in his career. But I'm not afraid of Detroit. Detroit strikes out at a very high rate. I think it's 8th most in the majors against right-handed pitching. Gavin Williams averages 97 miles an hour on his fastball. I don't know if the strikeouts are suddenly going to appear, but again, this season he was striking out over 30% in AAA. He's had a 30% plus strikeout rate in virtually every minor league season that he has thrown. We had 16 starts of a league average strikeout last year, 23.5%. So I think he's at least that. I think there's potential that he could be much greater than that. Give me Gavin Williams against Detroit over Andrew Abbott against the Rockies all day long.
If you want to play the swinging strikes route, also last year is 12.1%. And, 12.1% swinging strikes generally give a few more than 23% Ks, right? So if you want to say a little bit extra, he had a walk problem last year, which was somewhat concerning, 10.7%. But we can poke holes in all this stuff, right? Nothing is going to be perfect as far as the slates. Are you interested in Williams, Kirkwood?
Yeah, I am. Everything Keith said, but also there's only one negative, there's a lot of negatives actually and unknowns, but is that they were where I look for pitcher research, they were really concerned about the level of his vertical break. They were saying it was completely off, and they think that it may just be a one. He looked really good in his rehab start. So they're hoping it's just rust and everything comes back together, and it's worth taking a shot on here, in my opinion. But they sent out a warning to me, so a little scary. But again,
his breaking stuff has been the problem. He was expected to have above average curveball and slider. Neither one of them has been worth anything in the majors. They've both been terrible.
By Michael stealing your line here, Kirkwood saying I'd start Head Chopper against the Tigers. So there you go. Also, the other, and I don't want to freak out over one start, but Gavin Williams was terrible in his one start this season against the White Sox. He put up a negative on DK. Again, you could poke holes in everything, and I do think there is theoretically some upside as well. We've seen him flash it before not too long ago. Oh man, it is It's pretty rough. Is there anybody, Keith? You're playing 150. You're pocket committed to 150. Are we Xing out? Well, what pitchers or how many pitchers will we Xing out altogether?
So I had before the show only 2 pitchers X'd out. It was Andrew Abbott and Chris Flexen. I'm not playing Flexen against Minnesota. They've been an elite offense. There's no upside there whatsoever. I would much rather chase strikeouts with Yilber for a cheaper price tag. I would even go down to Keeter Montero, even though I hate the matchup against Cleveland. But that was when I needed the salary because I was playing Sale in every lineup. Now I'm going to mess around with the Davis Daniel, Chris Paddock here a lot more, I think. I don't feel good about it. Paddock is limited on his pitch count, so what's the upside? Even in a great matchup against the White Sox. No Luis Robert there is really interesting. So that definitely gave Paddock a bit of a bump, but it's not like he's been striking out a ton of guys either. I will say he does have a couple strikeout spike games in his game log this season. It's just that I'm really concerned about the pitch count. He's been out for a couple of weeks, 3 weeks or something, and he did not make a rehab start. Obviously, he's doing sim games and whatever work on the side, but I'm really concerned about the pitch count for Paddock. But he's much more in play for me now than he was before the Sale scratch.
Kirkwood, same thoughts as far as Paddock or anybody else that we should introduce to the conversation? Anybody you're just altogether crossing out? There's no chance they play for me.
No, Paddock's fine. It's the matchup again against the White Sox. I think you have to consider him tonight. So I'm good with him there. I'm almost tempted at even Chris Flexen on a slate like this, but I think I know Keith just said he was throwing him out, and there's just no upside. I mean, there's really not. So basically, there should be two. We should have 2 categories. Is there actual upside, and then do we put a premium on? Do we put a premium on safety or guys who have been a little bit safer to an extent this season? And obviously, so the upside guys. So who are the upside? There are none really. So the upside would be Gavin Williams for the potential would be Gilbert.
Well, define upside. This is there's no Chris Sale upside. Yeah,
no,
it's not.
7 strikeouts.
It's relative.
There's no world where Chris Flexen's getting 7 strikeouts, in my opinion. Gavin Williams could do it. Yeah, Gilbert Diaz could do it. Peter Montero, I think, could get 7 strikeouts before Chris Flexen could.
Flexen's been sneakily good, I think, in my opinion. But let me see if he's. So he had 6 strikeouts against Houston. That's an anomaly right there. 6 against Houston.
17% of the season.
I know. I'm just looking if he ever had any big games. So, yeah, there's nothing that pretty. But he has survived, and that could be something.
Doug is asking us about Elder on FanDuel. Is he really, really cheap on FanDuel, like $5 or $6K or something like that? I've not pulled that up. Let's see how much. He's 7.6 over there. I don't really think he stands out at 7.6. No, I mean, can you play him? Sure, but you can get Gavin Williams at 7.7, John Gray 7.3, Montero 6.8, Diaz 6.5. He wouldn't make my first 10 lineups. I don't know if anybody has a thought on that, Keith. As far as FanDuel specific for Elder at 7.6, I don't think he's in any way a priority.
Definitely not a priority. He'd be in the pool if I was making 150. But I don't even know if I would try to get overweight on him. I'd probably just play him at whatever the projected ownership is for the field.
Maybe we should just do this. Maybe we should just categorize by walk rates. And whoever has the lowest walk rate.
Williams is not going to fare well in that. So, okay.
Yeah, so that's the opposite strategy of what I'm doing. That's playing for safety where I'm playing for strikeout upside. So I'm playing all the guys with massive walk rates. Very risky.
Playing the guys with big Ks, big walks.
Yeah, exactly.
So we did get ownership. I don't know if you guys are looking or not. Maybe we can play the game. Where would you set the number? Where would you set the line, Keith? Where is Andrew Abbott on DK now? Without looking, without refreshing.
64%.
Over or under that number, Kirkwood? What do you think? Is it going to be over or under 64%?
I'm going to guess under.
Yeah, we got it at 48, which is still a monster number. Just a monster number. 48% for Andrew Abbott. Second kind of a clear second is John Gray. Like, as we speculated, as Keith speculated, 34% for John Gray. Gavin Williams grabbed some ownership at 24%. Davis Daniel at 22%. Bryce Elder at 20%. Diaz at 15%. Feltner at 11%. Paddock at 11%. Montero at 9%. And Flexen at about 3 to 4%. Does that look right to you, Kirkwood? That looks about right to me. I mean, just kind of eyeballing. I think Diaz might be a little bit higher. I could see that being a little bit higher. But I think that's pretty correct. I mean, that looks pretty good to me. Anything look goofy to you, Kirkwood? It's tough.
Let me just see. Where's
Paddock
Gilbert?
going to be that low? We've got Paddock at 11. He might get some steam with no Robert in that lineup.
He's kind of come up because he's hitting optimals when I'm putting him.
His issue is one of his issues. His main issue is like 74 projected pitches.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if he can get you 15 points, you're thrilled. I think you're thrilled, right? What's the highest number, Keith? Set the over under in that, Keith. The highest pitching score on DK is over or under like 18.5.
Yeah, that's a good line. Like I will be surprised if anyone gets 20, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, the majority of these guys have a 9 through 12 projection. And then there's the Abbott with the highest at 15 and then 14 for Gray. And Gray has been awful.
It's not great. Doug's asking, am I crazy for loving Detroit Pats? We're going to talk stacks in a second when we get done with these gross pitchers. I don't know if there's anything that's like completely bonkers as far as hitters, just because of how unpredictable the pitchers are. I just feel like I don't know anything. It's just a lot of guesswork, but you tell your story with your lineups. It's gonna be fun to build them. I want to build them after the show as we yield to crunch time. You got Tim and TJ and Dave Potts coming in about 30 minutes or so. Clue number 3, we'll go ahead and drop that for the people. I see a lot of guesses. It's not Porky's 2: The Revenge, or any Porky's for that matter. It's none of the Porky's. Hustler is saying Mercury Rising. It's not. It is not Leprechaun in the Hood, starring Jennifer Aniston, I believe. Isn't she in that one with Ice-T? I think she is. I'm fairly certain in the Leprechaun series. Clue number 3 is Chap. Clue number 3 is Chap. All right. Core, Rising, Chap. Get a week free of RG Premium. Just tell me what movie we're talking about. It is not Blade Runner or Mission Impossible 2, as Duke is guessing there in the chat. But there you go. Go ahead and somebody's trying to multi-enter. Go ahead, Kirkwood.
Did we talk Montero at all?
Go ahead.
4K, throws a 95.5 mile per hour fastball, has a curve, slider that are okay. He's got a changeup, which has been horrible. But he's got those are the pitches, right? Really, all you need is fastball, slider, curve. But if you throw a change in there too, he's got everything he needs. He's equipped. Problem is, he threw a good start for 4K against Minnesota in his first start. He's not like some big prospect or anything, but I don't know.
We don't really need the salary anymore. I think it's kind of part of it, right?
I'm just gonna see if I put Gilbert and Montero together, I'm just gonna see what my lineup, what an optimal lineup would even look like.
You could have some fun. By the way, Jerry's asking how much it costs to go into the
you can't even it's like NASCAR. It's like you're building 46, 47.
No, the Discord channel is free. No, wait. Oh, you can't spend the money. That's what you're saying. I got you.
Yeah, I'm saying when you plug in, when you're doing your 150 or whatever, and you're just salary doesn't matter whatsoever.
All right, Keith. Final word as far as pitchers. I don't really know what's left to be said. Have you been shuffling your pool? Have you given you some time? You've been messing around? I'm sure you had the cutout sale, so there've been some adjustments. Any major adjustments you want to update us on in the last few minutes?
Just more messing around in the mid-range with stuff like Paddock and Davis Daniel, playing much more of them than I have. I still have a massive overweight stance on Gavin Williams and Yolbert Diaz. Those are my two favorite pitchers to go way over the field on. Abbott is the guy I'm still considering the full fade. That ownership number just does not feel great to me. I understand the strikeout upside and the great matchup against Colorado, but it's a great ballpark for home runs in Cincinnati. He's a fly ball pitcher. Just feel like the Rockies can touch him up a little bit. So I will be at least or no more than half the ownership of the field on Abbott, and I'm still considering the full fade. John Gray is not comfortable, but we have to pick some people. The matchup against the Angels, maybe he can get back on track in this start, playing him roughly even with the field. Yeah, I mean, we're throwing a bunch of darts. Nothing at all on the slate is comfortable now.
Bad sign, bad for John Gray against the Angels. Miguel Sano is a DFA, so you cannot get those free strikeouts against Sano anymore. Officially got the Angels lineup. Rendon is officially back. Rendon is batting first. Chanel, Pilar, Keston Hira also back.
It's a 2K Rendon that nobody needs anymore.
Is he 2K?
I think.
How much is Keston Hira like 2K? Like
is he back in the line? Did he make the lineup?
He's batting fourth. Yeah, he's a classic.
He was crushing it, and
that's what he does. He kills AAA.
He's a jack in a bag. He's a jack in a bag from this slate tonight.
Maybe
shout out to Pepsi wherever you are.
Drury, Moniak, you still have Adele in there for some strikeouts, and Guillerme. We're still waiting on. I guess we're waiting on Arizona. Do we have any thoughts as far as Cattell? Do we think Cattell plays tonight? Is there any rumors on Marte being back? 50-50? We know. Or he's at the IL. Either he comes back or he's at the IL. It feels like. I don't know. He's missed. He didn't play this weekend, right? Unless I missed something.
No, he didn't.
No. Okay, I didn't think so. All right. Yeah. So no Atlanta, no Arizona, no Texas. We did get the Angels. All right. And Jerry was asking in chat, how do I get the Discord? How much is the cost? Now, you just have to have a regular RG account. There are paid accounts. There are premium accounts. You don't need any of that, just regular account. If you need a premium account to get into a few of the channels, a couple of channels, but almost all of them, like the prop shop, live stream chat channel, almost all of them are free. RotoGrinders.com/Discord. Jump into the live stream chat channel. There have been a lot of guesses, but nobody's there just yet. It's not Shawshank Redemption. It's not Trevor's. It's not The Dark Knight Rises or Weird Science. Let's go ahead and drop clue number 4 as we get to our stacks, our hitters, our tiers, which I guess will be more fun than talking about the pitchers. Clue number 4 is Heist. Core, Rising, Chop, and Heist. Let me know what movie we're talking about in the Discord. All right. We'll go ahead and say before we reveal the board, I'll tell you guys what the category is. It's biggest all-star snubs. Tell me in the chat. Tell us the biggest all-star snubs. The all-star announcements came down there in this weekend. Who should have made it that did not make the all-star team? We will reveal that board shortly. All right. Yeah, there's one of them popping up right there. They had to get Pete Alonso in there. Alonso probably shouldn't have got in there, but they want him there for the all-star game. And the most specifically, I suppose, for the home run derby, because he gets that every single year. Producer Steve's very upset that his. Go ahead.
Christian Walker needs to be number 1, probably, right?
He very well might be number 1 on the board. He just might be. That is a possibility. Keith, anybody you feel like you got snubbed? Did you check out the All-Star list by chance?
I have not even seen it yet. I'm busy with other things on the weekends and have not even and care very little about the All-Star game. So I have not even seen the rosters yet.
No worries. So let's go ahead and reveal the board. Cortez saying Westberg. I guess Westberg did not make the All-Star team for Baltimore. He's kind of lost.
Where?
Kirkwood hates Baltimore. It's a very strange. You guys didn't catch the vibes there. That's what was happening. He does not like Baltimore for whatever reason, because somebody he knows likes Baltimore, and that upsets him. Is that fair assessment?
No, he's the biggest. He's the biggest chirper in America. It's incredible.
I feel like when a team that has been bad for as long as Baltimore has been bad, you have to give the
but when you say that, he can't. It just makes him go stronger. It's like it's incredible. Like he thinks it's already wrapped up in June that they won the World Series. Even though they've never won the World Series in his entire lifetime. That's why I keep telling you, you've never seen your team win the World Series ever.
Well, let him be excited about his team, but it's not wrapped up because it's baseball. You have the best team, like any terrible team.
That's fine, but he's like has to just talk about the Red Sox nonstop. Has to talk about the Yankees he can't help himself. Can't help himself.
They've been beaten down so long by those teams, so it's like.
So I always throw a picture of Cal Ripken Jr. And I was like that the the best thing that your franchise has is a guy who played the record number of games. Like, that's it.
What about Eddie Murray? Nothing. Or Billy Griffin, who has a very famous baseball
and has
card.
the worst contract ever in Major League Baseball history on their books still.
Chris Davis. So
and a good farm system. Good farm system now. I admit that.
The chat was correct. Christian Walker, the number one snub. I feel like he didn't get it because they had Alonso, and you can only have so many first basemen. Alonso, I'm pretty sure, was the Mets' only representative. So getting snubbed from the snub board was both Francisco Lindor and Brandon Nimmo. They both almost got on the board, but they did not make it. But they got snubbed from the snub. So my apologies to the Mets and to producer Steve. Logan O'Hoppe should have been an all-star. The Angels all-star is 35-year-old Tyler Anderson. Like, what? I know he's got a good ERA, but nobody cares about his SIERA. It's 5. Nobody cares. He's got a 5 SIERA. He's never give it to him. Why not? Sure. He's been super, super lucky. O'Hoppe deserved it over Sal Perez, in my opinion. Anthony Santander for Kirkwood's Baltimore Orioles. He's got like the 8th best ISO in baseball, top 5 or so in homers, in a bad ballpark for hitting home runs. He deserves it. I don't think he's ever been an all-star. He got snubbed, in my opinion. Brent Rooker, another guy. He's an all-star. He made it.
Okay.
He was voted in. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah.
I'm shocked that the people voted in Profar. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he's starting for the National League. 31 years old, 10 years later, when he had those his Uber prospect status. Brent Rooker, another guy who's been having an awesome season. He couldn't make it because they had Mason Miller as the all-star for Oakland, and they couldn't have 2 Athletics. But he's been smashing baseballs all season long in a terrible ballpark. And the one that got the snub the least is Julio Rodriguez, who I was digging in and just doing kind of like my research on players overall. He's ranked 137 out of 140 guys that qualify in ISO this season. 137. J-Rod. That's Luis Ariz is one of the 3 people behind him. If you're curious who's behind him, it's really, really ugly. But there you go. There is our categories. More guesses coming in. I don't believe anybody's guessed it just yet for our movie. We finally got a good one, I suppose, or a bad one, depending on your perspective. But we should go ahead and drop clue number 5 as we talk about our favorite stacks. This might do it. Clue number 5 is diamonds. Diamonds. There you go. All 5 clues have been dropped. Let me know what movie we're talking about. We flipped the coin backstage. Kirkwood, you won the coin toss. So that means you go first. Colorado, Cincinnati, 9.5 total. Andrew Abbott, did you want to punt or receive? I just assumed you wanted to receive.
I'll take it. We already know where we're going with this one. If we give it over to Keith first, he's going to be high on the Colorado bats, and probably high on the Cincy bats too. So I'm highest on the Cincy bats. I'm probably going to be a chalk donkey tonight and end up playing Abbott, and because just taking the matchup against the Rockies, but I do get the leverage is for real on this 5. I mean, this is a massive leverage spot, but I think they'll pick up ownership. But I'd put them in the one below Cincy.
We do have a winner, by the way, from Movie Monday in the chat. There's a winner. That one doesn't count. In the Discord, that does count. We'll pay it off in just a second. We got Cincinnati with Logan O'Hoppe. We have the Rockies with Brent Rooker. Your thoughts on that, Kirkwood? I assume you're going to want to, Kirkwood. Keith, you want to rebut? I guess I'm going to have to break the tie, I think. We'll see.
Yeah, I agree with the Reds completely. I think they're one of the best stacks on the slate. Love targeting offenses in this ballpark. Low strikeout righty on the mound. Really struggles with left-handed power. So Ellie De La Cruz is one of the top bats on the slate. Love the spot for Candelario as well. We don't really need them anymore, but they had a couple of punts in the lineup. So love the Reds tonight. Good with O'Hoppe. I could even make a case for Christian Walker there. The Rockies, I think the leverage is a good leverage spot to play. I wrote up the Rockies as my leverage stack in the Stacks article today. I'm just not afraid of Andrew Abbott. The strikeouts are way down. He's a fly ball pitcher in a home run park. I will be playing a bunch of Rockies. I'd have him right next to the Reds and O'Hoppe.
Yeah, if we're talking about winning tournaments, I think you're supposed to put Colorado where Keith put them. I don't trust Colorado. Abbott is probably the quote unquote I guess he's the best pitcher, but understand that is a case by case, slate by slate conversation. He's the best only by default. But yeah, I will agree. I think that's where Colorado should be. And I'll be playing both sides of it. I don't make a ton of lineups, but I think you're supposed to have at least one Colorado stack if Abbott's going to be like 50% owned, which that appears to be the case. Game number 2, that is yours, Keith. Minnesota, the White Sox, Flexen versus Paddock, 9 total. Paddock, pretty big favorite here. Minnesota offense looks pretty well positioned here against Flexen. Minus 196 favorite in Chicago, locked in for 9. Where do you have the Twins and the Sox?
Twins are up top in Christian Walker. I think they're the best stack on the slate. I don't know if anyone realizes how good this Twins offense has been. They're currently up to 4th in the entire league in WRC Plus and WOBA. Over the past 30 days, they are the very best offense in baseball. This Twins offense has been absolutely rolling. Chris Flexen is a very low strikeout pitcher. There should be plenty of contact here. So I really like the Twins today. The White Sox, no Luis Robert in the lineup. I'm not really afraid of Paddock, another low strikeout pitcher, but there's just not enough talent in this lineup for me to want to chase it a ton on this slate. I like him right there where producer Steve has him in Rooker.
Kirkwood?
I have Minnesota up top. Flexen extremely hittable. Almost a 5 Sierra, 47% fly balls. Minnesota, like you said, only problem with Minnesota is they don't have Royce, but Miranda is certainly one of the hottest hitters in baseball right now. Buxton is hitting the ball well. Correa, who I thought was potentially going to be out today, is in the lineup, so that's a boost. Did Willie Castro make the All-Star?
I believe no. You know what? I think he got snubbed. He was somebody I was thinking about a possible snub. He's been really good this year.
He's been extremely good, and you can play him at second, which is nice. And they got Jefferson there, which is always better than Vasquez. So I really like them at the top. And then the White Sox. I mean and also I'll put into the bullpen for the White Sox is terrible too. Yeah. Highest Sierra, highest home run per 9, highest Sierra, both of them on the slate. So love that. But I don't know.
2 lefties in that pen. I would just throw that out there as 2 lefties. One pitch yesterday, Banks.
Yeah, there was a question about pinch hit risk for the Twins, and they do pinch hit a lot, so it's definitely something I checked on. Looks like Larnach and Walnut are the 2 that you really need to be concerned about.
You avoid Larnach.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, he's certainly going to bang out a 3-run homer in the first inning, but like he seems to be the one that's most likely to get that hook. And like I would love it if Lewis was in there, but then they would make that team even more strong. But they look good enough as is against this terrible Chicago team. All right, my apologies. We're keeping the White Sox down with Brent Rooker and Minnesota up top, and we're good with that. Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed for playing a couple of their best bets. They don't even have. Did Roberts get hurt?
Pham just got scratched, and Robert wasn't in. Maybe they'll throw Robert in now. I don't know. They got to throw somebody in there to replace Pham. I'm curious who is the additional player. Maybe we'll get an update on that. You think is Roberts not hurt, right?
I don't know what the deal was.
I don't know. Maybe I have a feel like somebody got. I have a memory of somebody this weekend like hitting a double and pulling up on his hamstring or something, but I don't think it was him. I don't remember.
Sosa, Benintendi, Vaughn, Sheets, Jimenez, the young Lopez, Jolks, Maldonado. So they did not put Robert back in. Looks like Jolks is the one that jumped in. We did get Arizona, by the way, and Ketel Marte is in. Carroll, Marte, Peterson, Walker, Gurriel, Moreno, Suarez, Thomas, Perdomo. I also screwed up. My bad, producer Steve. I skipped Chicago and Detroit, so we can jump back to that, but that was my mistake. Cleveland and Detroit. Cleveland taking on Detroit. That's Williams versus Montero. Pretty big favorite here for Cleveland, 143. This is back to Kirkwood. Where do we have Cleveland? The Tigers.
The Tigers are frustrating. I won with them yesterday, actually, so they're all right. But they didn't. It was only because of 2 players. I don't want to pick on Gavin Williams, but again, you can pick on Gavin Williams because we don't really know what we're going to see. But the Tigers they just don't do it for me in that park too much. So I'll put them down at, they're fine there. Cleveland, I would put up in the the second tier next to Cincy, up for Logan O'Hoppe. And then Detroit, Santander's fine.
Keith?
I think I would have Detroit down with the White Sox, even one lower than that. I believe in the talent of Gavin Williams. I know he's not been great in his small sample size in the big leagues, but he does have a great minor league track record. So I have no interest in picking on him really. A lefty one-off, like Colt Keith is really cheap. I don't hate him as a one-off. Riley Green's been good. Like that's fine, but I'm definitely not full stacking them. And I'm fine with Cleveland up there in O'Hoppe. Just they've been a really good offense this season. They're facing a young pitcher who doesn't have a bunch of experience and is not a huge prospect. So definitely think they're one of the better offenses on the slate.
I'm going to go ahead and side with Kirkwood on this one. The slate is just wide open. Like, I don't really love Detroit, but like if Detroit is the team that puts up 9 runs and 3 or 4 homers, wouldn't surprise me at all. And, I like Riley Green plenty. Cole Keith is a nice cheap option as well. The rest of it's not so great. But, I'll put him with Anthony Santander. We're probably going to have some time for questions, just 2 more games to go. So if you have any slate-specific questions, I know on Crunch Time, they like to go around the horn and go position by position, and they'll answer all your questions. If you have any for us, or even like strategy, large field questions, large overarching strategy questions, by all means, happy to answer those. Do want to give a shout out to our winner for our movie trivia, Movie Monday. That's DUNC 101. Inside Man was the winner. Thank you. I know you guys knew the answer, but thank you for not spoiling it for everybody. Let the game play out. Core was the first clue. Core inside. Rising was Spike. Something Spikes? Spike Lee was the director of Inside Man. Chap is just another way. I didn't want to say like fella. Chap is I guess more of a British thing, I suppose, but that's what you say. That's a man, a boy, a man. There you go. So that's what that was. So we have Inside, we have Man, we have Spike Lee. It was a heist movie. If you've never seen it before, it's a spectacular movie. Highly recommend it.
Sorry, I wasn't listening. What is it?
Inside Man?
Okay.
You've seen it.
I've seen it. It's very good. I agree. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Denzel. Yeah,
right.
I've seen it. I like that. Yep.
It was Heist was number 4, and it's a bank heist. And number 5, Diamonds are also in play as well. But you guys both give it the 2 thumbs up. I can't imagine watch that movie and be like, yeah, that was
tough to find a bad Denzel movie.
Agree.
There's not a lot of them. We'll do a power rankings for his.
I want to take a moment out though of our time to we need to recognize and send thoughts and prayers. I want to see the chat send their thoughts and prayers to Chop, who's knee deep in this storm. Haven't heard from him since the morning. Haven't heard from him since the morning, so I'm assuming that he might have lost power already. But thoughts and prayers, and I'll let you guys know. Everybody stay glued to Twitter if we need to do a GoFundMe for him. 2-time millionaire winner Chop, but keep on the lookout.
And Roth as well. We wish everybody well. It's in Texas. I've not really been on top of it, but my understanding was it was definitely something that
rest in peace, Chop.
Well,
bootleg head chopper already ready to take him over.
Well,
I was trying to gauge the sincerity of Kirkwood the entire time, and he's done. And I still don't know if that was
there was none.
the GoFundMe. Thoughts and prayers should have been a clue. Like that's a clue right there. Everybody's thoughts and prayers. When some celebrity that they never even knew dies, they have to announce on Twitter thoughts and prayers, and then the GoFundMe for a 2-time million maker winner.
2 more games to knock out. Let's go ahead. I think it's Keith's board, if I'm not mistaken. It is Texas taking on the Angels. It's Davis, Daniel, and John Gray. Where do you have as far as the Rangers and the Angels? No Texas lineup just yet, for what it's worth, but we have our projected lineup.
Yeah, I mean Davis Daniel had one really good start and one really poor start, so I think he's very attackable. We don't quite know what he is yet, but there's some talent in this Texas lineup. Seager's one of the top bats on the slate. I like Simeon a good amount. Josh Smith has had a really good year. Adalas still has some power in there theoretically, so I'm pretty interested in this Rangers lineup. Wyatt Langford's been much better recently. So I like them up there in that second tier of Ohapi. I'm not really scared of Daniel. I will be playing some Davis Daniel, but I'll also be stacking against him plenty. The Angels, like this is the same argument that we made for the Rockies, and that John Gray is just going to be way too popular on this slate. I just don't like the names in this lineup. I don't like the underlying stats as much as I do Colorado. I don't like the ballpark as much as I do in Cincinnati. So I don't have the Angels quite on the same level as the Rockies, but I certainly understand it. If you're interested in attacking a very popular John Gray, I'll leave him right there in Santander.
Kirkwood?
Yeah, I think I'm going to have Texas up at my favorite, up next to the Twins. That's where I'm going to put him. I think Davis Daniel stinks. We're going to find out that sooner or later that he's not very good. He had that one first, great start, but nothing in his arsenal screams this is going to be a good, solid pitcher going forward. So Texas is starting to come around with the bats now. They're starting to heat up, and I like the away team here. Get the 9 innings, get to them. The Angels bullpen when they almost just throw in the towel if they're down by like 3 runs or more, it seems. And I think Texas can go off. So Texas up top, and then John Gray's been terrible, and he's going to be pretty chalky. So you got to have some leverage. But I'm not opposed with Keston here, especially he's playing second base. I think you got to play him tonight.
No Turner Ward in that lineup for what it's worth. One of their better hitters not playing. It's we have Texas up there with Christian Walker. I don't want to play this angle, but the Texas players might be their heads might be elsewhere, right? So they think about their families as far as what's going on in Texas. A little bit distracted.
Their families are sitting in a anyone who's playing, their family's in a Ritz-Carlton somewhere. They're probably in Cancun or Mexico, like their family's on.
Derek Hill's not that rich. Like Derek Hill, I don't know. He's playing like the minimum. Anyways, what do you think here, Keith? Jump in here as far as Texas and Anaheim. Did Kirkwood do a good job? Do you want to rebut?
I started this one off, so it's up to you to break the tie or break the difference on Texas. I had him in Ohapi. Kirkwood's got him in Walker.
My apologies. I was Googling. I was trying to figure out the worst Denzel Washington movie, and according to Rotten Tomatoes, it's one called, I've heard this before. I don't think Heart Condition. I don't remember Heart Condition from 1990 with Bob Hoskins. But the second worst is John Q, and that was pretty good. I kind of like John Q. When his kid needs like a heart transplant or something like that. All right,
I remember
that one. That was fine. It wasn't terrible. As a father
now, I see it in a whole different light. So
you got to watch John Q again.
Yeah,
is that what you're saying? I like Texas all the way up top as well. I think this slate is wide open, and the Angels, I guess, right in the middle. If you want to play the leverage game against 40%, 35% owned John Gray. Okay, let's go ahead and talk about Atlanta and Arizona. This is Kirkwood's board, right? Kirkwood's going to finish it out for us. Again, the late swap. No Chris Sale if you're joining us late. It's Bryce Elder taking on Gilbert Diaz, who's got an electric arm, a lot of Ks in the minors, some walk issues as well. We see that often with the young players. He's a prospect as well, like a legit prospect for Arizona. Your thoughts as far as the Braves and the D-backs? This is Kirkwood.
As much as I love Gilbert tonight because we're chasing the upside, it doesn't mean he's going to succeed. So I think the Braves, from an upside standpoint, that's why I like Gilbert. I also like the Braves offense from an upside standpoint, right? Because these guys can hit bombs. They can get him out of there quickly. He could have command issues, and they could take advantage of it. So, and a bunch of boppers in this lineup. So I'd put the Braves, right there, Steve, in Logan Ohapi. And I'll put because of the pricing, and I'll put the Diamondbacks right next to them.
Keith?
Totally agree with the Braves. Gilbert might be my second highest owned pitcher, but I'm going to have a ton of Brave stacks as well. There's a lot of upside. There's a lot of power in this lineup. Gilbert has a walk problem even in the minors, so that has danger of translating pretty poorly to the majors. So could be a lot of traffic on the bases for the Braves, and they can do the damage with the power. So really like them. D-backs, really wish they were a little bit more left-handed against Elder is the only thing I will say. So maybe a tier below in Santander. I'm fine with them in Ohapi if we want to leave them there. They're definitely much more on the radar than they were prior to the Chris Sale scratch. Pretty massive downgrade from Sale to Elder. So they're very much in play. Officially, I'd have them in Santander, but I'm fine with Ohapi too.
All right, our final board is 2 teams up top, hanging out with Christian Walker. This is, of course, if you guys are joining us late, these are the players that were the biggest snubs for the All-Star game. Christian Walker's got Texas and Minnesota. Logan Ohapi's hanging out with Cleveland, Cincy, Colorado, Arizona, Atlanta. Right in the middle, Anthony Santander, Detroit, the Angels. Brent Rooker has the White Sox. And nobody's hanging out with Julio Rodriguez, who was not snubbed. That's why he's at the bottom of the list. Apologies to Francisco Lindor, was snubbed in the snub list, and Brennan DeMoe also snubbed on the snub list. Man on Fire is the 43rd worst movie according to Rotten Tomatoes for Denzel Washington. That is egregious. There's no way that's correct.
Terrible.
39%.
Yeah.
It's a very good movie.
Yeah.
It also speaks to his body of work, but come on, what are we doing here? 39%.
What's his number one movie?
Is it Fences? Glory. The Tragedy of Macbeth. This is critics. I believe this is the critics. Fences, Devil in a Blue Dress. Let's see, the one that you would first. Crimson Tide was 89%. Malcolm X 88%. Unstoppable 87%. Inside Man 86%. That's what
I love Training Day. I love Training Day. Where is that on there?
Where? Yeah, I almost went with that actually.
And where's American Gangster?
Anton Fisher 78%, which is an awesome movie nobody talks about. I don't see. I have to keep scrolling. Training Day 74%, not high enough. And what was the other movie you threw out there?
American Gangster.
That was really good too. And either I missed it. I think I might have missed it. But yeah, Training Day should be in the top 5 or top 10. But this is not the audience. I think this is actually critics. That will be a different list, I suppose. All right. Do we have any Juggalo bombs for the people, Kirkwood? Who's going yard tonight?
Oh my God, I got to think of this now. All of a sudden,
you had no idea this was coming.
I did, but I was hoping a shortened show we would cut this part. I got to back my boy Keston Hira at 2.3K batting clean.
I like it.
And who's the? I'll say Candelario.
We've run out 2. Yeah, Candelario's batting third tonight, taking on Feltner. Keith, what do you got? Who's going yard for you?
I like that Candelario call quite a bit. I was looking at him. I'm going to go to the other side of that game since I'm fading Abbott. I gotta stick with somebody on the Rockies here. Give me Hunter Goodman as the guy that goes yard for the Rockies among a couple, probably 3 or 4 of them. And I'll go pretty obvious. Pretty obvious with Ellie De La Cruz on the other side of that game.
By the way, no Atlanta lineup just yet, but expect to see Eddie Rosario probably cracks the lineup tonight. Back in Atlanta, they picked him up. Wasn't he on Washington earlier in the year? I feel like I'm making that up. I think that was the thing. He's back on Atlanta. They did recall him, or whatever you do, you claim somebody's contract. I think he's going to be in the lineup this evening. No Texas just yet. Go ahead.
I need a last request. We're going over? Are we moving over to crunch time in a second?
Yeah, whenever they jump on, I think they're still kind of coming together.
Okay, I just think everybody. I think it's time that everybody goes to Twitter and send Chop a thoughts and prayers. Let him know you're thinking about him.
Why are you having? What if something serious happens? You're having fun with this.
No, I want you guys to really,
I can just the passion. You're holding back tears, and I appreciate what you're doing here for Chop. Well, my mistake. Dallas apparently is not getting the brunt of it. It just basically rains, so Dallas should be fine. I was talking about earlier, but yeah, that's the reason why we don't have Roth today. Playing Roth is TJ Zwarych, as well as Tim. Tim's coming in. Also, we get Dave Potts. Cheese is good. Let's go ahead and bring in crunch time. Who has a hot take? Who wants to throw one out there? Here's your topics of conversation. Biggest all-star snub, best Denzel Washington movie, worst Denzel Washington movie. What do you guys got?
I have no hot takes on the matter.
Definitely Christian Walker for all-star. And I'm with
Egregious.
Kirky. I'm with Kirky on training day for Denzel. I don't know about the worst one. I'll have to think about that.
I didn't look at what outfielders made it, but Santander was the biggest one that stood out for me just because he's been so amazing this year.
So the outfield reserves for the American League, Jaron Duran, Riley Green, Kyle Tucker, just those three. And then David Fry is a DH. Like, what's that? And you didn't need another Cleveland guy. He had a good, 10-day stretch, but come on. David
Tucker
Fry?
even feels a little bit weird considering how long he's been hurt for.
Yeah. I mean, nobody's going to watch the All-Star game, but we still get angry about it. We can still complain. I guess. I'm not sure. Dave, did you care about this? Do you even know who are All-Stars?
I didn't even know it had been announced. I've never cared less about anything.
That's what I figured. Fair enough. You got a Denzel movie? Favorite Denzel movie? You got one of those.
I have such a hard time with that because I feel like he's one of the greatest actors ever, and I love every time I see him. I love him, but I don't love most of his movies. Like I like them because he's in them, but there's none of his movies that I just go, oh my gosh, that's my favorite movie. Even though a lot of them are great. I don't even know. I can't even name you one. I mean, I can name a bunch of them, but I just don't love any of them enough to single them out.
Today's Movie Monday. All three of us have seen it, and all three of us like it. You've probably seen it too, but if you haven't, Inside Man. Have you seen Inside Man?
Oh yeah, I love Inside Man.
Okay.
And it's weird. I don't consider that a Denzel Washington movie. I know that's a weird thing to say, but I don't.
Okay. It's a Clive Owen movie?
Yep.
Okay. Fair enough.
If you asked me to name who's in Inside Man, that's who I would say first. I would not say Denzel.
Yeah, that's fair. And then you get the Jodie Foster, and then I don't know who else is in it. Somebody else has got me there. But all right. Anything else, boys, before we step aside and make way for crunch time?
I think we're good.
That was Keith. That was Kirkwood. I was Dean. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on notifications. Don't go anywhere because the next 35 plus minutes, you got Tasteful Tides, you got TJ Zwarych, you got Dave Potts. TJ, take it away.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to RotoGrinders Crunch Time. I'm your host, TJ Zwarych, joined by two of the sharpest minds in the biz. Shout out to Kevin Roth, dealing with some tough weather with the hurricane right now over in Texas. We're hoping he is all good. But thankfully, luckily, no weather for us to worry about on the joined first off by Dave Potts. Cheeseisgood. What's up?
I don't know. What is this slate? Honestly,
Horrific.
It's the worst of all things when you hand build 40 lineups and there's just one pitcher. All I can do is leave $4,000 on the table in every lineup, and I don't even know what else to do. And they're all terrible lineups. Yeah. What a weird thing that exists, this slate.
Yeah, and it's ugly. It's tough to even, you got all the salary in the world and you can't make a lineup that you like. It's not really exciting to look at. Joining us as well, Tasteful Tides, Tim Buell. How you doing, Tim?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I was reading content stuff earlier in the day, and then I went golfing, and I came back an hour ago, and all of a sudden the slate was completely different. So it's definitely a really, really ugly slate. But I think, now we're all, we all play with the same deck, right? So I think we have to just, grin and bear it and try to make some positive EV plays.
Let's see if we can do it. We will do our absolute best. Before we get going, there's never been a better time to sign up for RotoGrinders Premium with MLB, PGA, MMA, and WNBA, and we've got an option for whatever level you're looking for. Get yourself a 6-month combo subscription at an exclusive price of $469.99. That's a savings of $250 instead of buying 6 individual months of combo premium. You can also get your first month of RotoGrinders Premium for $40 off for a limited time. Those that want to test run before buying can dip their toes in the water with our 3-day pass at $19.99. Check the links in our description for more info. Tim, the chat's going crazy. You had fun today?
I never said anything about fun.
Well,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I heard him say he went golfing. I didn't hear him say he had fun.
All I said is I went golfing.
Did you enjoy yourself or no?
It was all right. It was all right.
That is the correct answer.
What is Dean talking about? I forgot to shout out Dave for crushing the MLB streets this weekend. Dave, what is this?
This is
did
why
you
we
win?
don't feel bad that he has to leave 4,000 on every lineup tonight.
Yeah,
Right.
I have the $4,000 now, so I'd rather just leave the theoretical 4,000 than the actual. But yeah, Saturday was a good day.
Oh, okay. Congrats.
Thanks.
Big, nice 5-figure day. He's downplaying it. It was all over Twitter. Good job, Cheese. I forgot to bring that up. Congrats on the win. Why don't you start us off by telling us what on earth we're supposed to do at pitcher when, there's a 4K pitcher who I would love to play in every lineup, but then I have to leave $4,000 on the table in every lineup.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so many slates where we desperately need a 4K pitcher, right? And even when we had Sale, like we could kind of use him. Now, I guess when I look at this, I think, Abbott and John Gray are going to be like mega chalk. I am still just so far under on John Gray chalk. Like, I don't understand what we're doing. But on top of that, like, obviously the Angels manager is playing him in DFS because, like, he put out the one lineup that John Gray could beat. Like, I don't even understand why they're doing this. I still don't think John Gray can beat him. Like, I think he's broken. I really do. I'm out. When I say out, I have like 5% now as opposed to the 0% I had when Sale was on the slate. I am playing Andrew Abbott. I think he can give up 4 home runs and still be one of the top 2 scoring pitchers on this slate. And I think something like that is what's going to happen. After that, I mean, I'm still playing a pretty fair amount of Yober Diaz and Kiter Montero and just leaving the salary. Like, I think they're as good as anyone else on this slate. I also had essentially 0 Gavin Williams, Davis Daniel, and Chris Paddock with Sale on the slate. I mean, like 0. Now I have about 10% of each of them. But I'm mostly just playing the cheap guys and leaving the salary. Like, I just don't like these spend up pitchers other than kind of Abbott. So, and I'm playing even a little Ryan Feltner now. But officially, Abbott, I probably am going to have it like 60% with like 30% each of Diaz and Montero. And then just random sprinkles of these other guys, with my main stand being I'm just going way underboard on John Gray. I'm not like stacking the Angels against him in every lineup. I'm playing plenty of Angels, but I'm definitely not. That's not chalk I'm willing to play on any slate. It could be a 1-game slate where you had to roster 2 pitchers, and I would find a way to be under on them.
Tim, what about you? You're typically playing one lineup. What are you doing at pitching?
Yeah, it's actually it's weird. The only pitcher that I'm sold on right now that I'm definitely playing is Ryan Feltner on DK at 5.5. He's got the second highest K prop on the entire slate. His projected ownership is quite low right now, which I like. So I'm definitely locking in Feltner into my single entry. My SB1 though, I'm not really completely convinced that I want to play a super highly owned Andrew Abbott. I'm not convinced that I want to play a potentially broken John Gray. So it could very well be Gavin Williams. So I'm kind of leaning Gavin Williams, but I definitely have Ryan Feltner right now as a pitcher that I have locked into my single entry and cash game lineup for that matter. I'm playing him in cash also.
Very interesting. I like it. It's a big stand from Tim today. Keeping it with you, Tim. What are you doing for stacks?
Yeah, I mean it's pretty tough. Like, if I'm gonna be on Feltner, I'm gonna have to be, taking a stance and going away from the Reds. So I'm gonna be underweight the Reds. I want to be overweight on Texas and Cleveland. Those are my 2 favorite stacks. Obviously, Minnesota against Flexen is great. They're fine too. Obviously Atlanta is, a good matchup as well. But my two biggest stands would be Cleveland and Texas.
Cheese, how about you? Who are you prioritizing today in terms of stacks?
I guess my highest owned teams are the Angels, the Rangers, the Rockies, and the Twins. And I'm not even sure. I mean, I guess it kind of seems like the Twins should be chalk, but I don't think there's really chalk on the hitting side. I think everybody's playing everybody. Like, I think the expensive bats will be chalk now. Ellie and Jose Ramirez will be chalk now just because you can afford them. But I'm not concerned about stack ownership on the Twins, especially given that all 9 batters are essentially equally viable.
All right. We got a ton of people watching right now, so we got to get these likes way up. Let's smash the like button before we even consider giving away any home run plays. We got to have about 175 likes at least on YouTube. So make sure you get the likes up there. I'll take questions from YouTube. I'll take questions from the RotoGrinders live stream Discord chat. Before we do that, though, we will go position by position. Cheese, why don't you start us off at the catcher position? Who are you prioritizing there?
I love this position. It's one of my favorites. Like, to the point that, like, I think I'm mostly playing Hunter Goodman as an outfielder rather than a catcher. Jeffers and O'Hoppe are my favorites. I'm fine with David Fry. I'm fine with both Rockies catchers, but again, I prefer to play Goodman in the outfield. Play him and Diaz together. Every single catcher on the is playable, even in just like a mini stack. I don't mind like Jake Rogers with just 1 or 2 other Tigers, or Bo Naylor with just a couple other Guardians. But definitely Jeffers and O'Hoppe are my 2 favorites.
I want to do my best to channel the spirit of Kevin Roth today. And so since he's not with us for the show, she said I can play at 4. I mean, I was already playing 150 lineups with like 80% of the 4K pitcher of 80% Montero anyways. But I mean, just made a single entry lineup while we were on the show where I got Montero was one of my pitchers, the 4K guys, and then the cheapie that Tim likes, Ryan Feltner, as my other pitcher. I left no salary on the table. I think it'll be a little bit different in certain spots. I like it. It's a beautiful lineup for single entry. If it makes money, we got to make sure that I'm tagging Roth on that one. Tim, who you liking today at catcher?
Yeah, Sean Murphy's probably my favorite play, price considered. I love Ryan Jeffers quite a bit. I already talked about the Guardians. I think I like Bo Naylor the most of the cheaper end catchers. But in cash games, you should just go up to Sean Murphy. But I like Bo Naylor in your Cleveland stacks. I like Jonah Heim in your Rangers stacks quite a bit. And I think David Fry is just so expensive and nobody's going to play him. So you might as well give him a shot. And I really like Cleveland today. So I don't mind spending I thought about spending the 5.5 on him in single entry, but I went down to Bo Naylor instead.
I think Arizona is, sorry, it's a little off topic, but I think Arizona makes for such a strong stack for tournaments today. I think they could end up going a little under-owned because so many people expected them to be going up against Chris Sale today. So as I'm just finalizing some things, I keep getting a lot more Arizona. Tim, take me over to first base. Who are you liking there?
Yeah, so for raw points overall, I like Matt Olson. I pretty much say that every slate. Next for me would be Josh Naylor. I think he's a fantastic play. Nathaniel Lowe, I like quite a bit. You know, we have all these cheap pitchers and we have all these cheap hitters, but we don't need these cheap hitters anymore either. Like Edwin Rios, who's min price at 2K, but we don't need guys like that anymore. So you really just could just pass on those guys. And I do like Christian Walker quite a bit. I'm not so sure I'm high on their stack, but I do like Walker pretty much any slate.
Cheese, how about you?
Candelario is my favorite play. Very much on Olson and Naylor as well. Michael Toglia, I have a ton of, and Nolan Shanuel.
Tim, are you playing on FanDuel at all today?
I'm playing a single entry team, not cash, but I can answer a cash question if there's a question.
Well, no, there was this is what got me thinking about it. There was a question of who's the one FanDuel cash pitcher, and I feel like the answer is Abbott to that. But
Yeah.
I'm just looking over at FanDuel, and I'm seeing $7,400 Ryan Feltner at 3% projected ownership. I got to imagine that's why you're playing a single entry on FanDuel today. It's because you're excited about that specifically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Feltner. I could be completely horrible disaster, but he's got a 5.5K prop. He's dirt cheap. He's going to be, it seems to be low owned, so I'm going to take a shot on him.
I like it. Cheese, why don't you take us over to second base?
All right. The position got a lot better with Marte facing Elder instead of Sale, and now really all of Albies, Marte, and Semien, where it's easy to afford them. Like, I think this is a slate you do spend up at second, but kind of like Tim was saying at first, like, we have really great punts too. You just don't need them. Angel Martinez, Colt Keith, Brandon Drury, even Keston Hiura's back in our lives. Brendan Rodgers pretty cheap. Like, I don't hate any of those guys, but it's just super easy to play one of those top three. I think my lean is Marte right now. And then I think of the semi-cheap guys, Rodgers is my favorite.
All right, Tim, how about you? Who do you like at second?
I think Albies is my favorite straight up, followed by Semien, and then Marte. And then if you need to go a little bit lower, I like Angel Martinez quite a bit at 2.8. Colt Keith is fine at 3.1. Willie Castro, I think, is fine at 4.8. But yeah, it's a pretty strong position. So I would definitely include this position when you're stacking up a team.
There's 554 of you watching on YouTube right now, only 140 likes. If you want some home run picks, you got to get these likes way up here. The last time I heard Cheese give a home run pick, he was like, I think it's going to be Parker Meadows. And then Parker Meadows in his very first, I think, at bat, knocked one out of the park. So even though he doesn't like giving them, you want to get them. And so make sure you're getting these likes way up so we can give some home run picks here. Tim, take me over to third.
Yeah, Jose Ramirez is my favorite overall play in the slate. So I'm playing him both cash and my single entry team. He's so easy to play now, 6,500. I'm locking him in. I really like Austin Riley, obviously, for Atlanta. But after that, I think there's a pretty significant drop off. Josh Smith is fine. Jose Miranda is fine. But really, I'd be looking to get overweight both J-Ram and Austin Riley if you're making, multiple GPP teams.
Cheese, who you prioritizing here? You got Riley, you got Ramirez, and then you got another guy who has gotten a hit in 12 straight at bats.
I mean, it's Ramirez, even in Montero lineups. This is kind of the weak position here. Like, I just don't like the pivots that much. I mean, Riley and Miranda are fine. But I think the gap is bigger here than other positions between the one guy and everybody else. So Ramirez is definitely a priority. I've still got some Brooks Lee, even though we don't really need the salary. And that's all I feel like mentioning.
10 likes away from some home run picks. Let's keep pumping them up there. Cheese, take us over to shortstop.
So I guess Ellie De La Cruz is probably fairly mega chalky, although Corey Seager being there as well, they have to split it up a little bit. On FanDuel, I just like playing both of them. On DK, I kind of prefer playing Seager and leaving the salary. But I love both those guys. I like Tovar a ton as well. I'm going out of my way to make sure I play some of him, even not in Colorado stacks. And there you go. That's your position.
It's going to be unfortunate today when we got De La Cruz, Correa, Seager up top, and the highest score ends up being Zach McKinstry when he double dongs tonight. Tim, who do you like?
Even more tilting when it ends up being Javi Baez.
Yeah, that's actually what's going to happen.
Yeah, you miss him even in your Tiger stacks.
Yeah, Corey Seager's my favorite shortstop. I mean, obviously Ellie is fantastic, but I'm pitching Feltner, so I'm really hoping Ellie busts. You could play Ellie against Feltner for sure. No problem with that at all. But I prefer Seager straight up, and then I guess Correa is fine. But I'm not looking to get to any of these value shortstops.
All right, take us to the outfield.
Yeah, outfield is a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of like a little bit of a jumbled mess here. I think, Byron Buxton is a fantastic play. He's definitely I'm pretty sure he has really, really strong BVP also. So 4,600 for Buxton is fantastic. I like Adolis Garcia quite a bit. I always like Jared Kelenic. I like Texas and Atlanta. So, Wyatt Langford is currently in my single entry team. So I currently I'm playing Stephen Kwan for the very first time all season tonight in GPP. So I'm paying up for him. Projections love Corbin Carroll. I don't know if I want to play Corbin Carroll. I think that he might go kind of highly owned, and I don't really love that. So I prefer to get away from some of those Arizona outfielders.
All right. How are you prioritizing the outfield today, Cheese?
Well, it's funny because even when you have the money, you don't really want to spend it because that's like Kwan and Ozuna. And then you feel like you're kind of forcing in these plays because you have to. I think my favorite plays are still kind of mid-tierish. Got to turn my phone off because I'm trying to take Chris Sale out of my lineups. So those plays for me are a lot of Rockies. I love Doyle. I love Goodman. I love Adolis Garcia. Definitely all the Twins. I know Tim mentioned Buxton is one of the top plays. I agree with that. And then the sort of cheap stuff, I'm still playing a bunch of Angels. Not having Taylor Ward and Willie Calhoun today, has really messed up my life as much as not having Chris Sale. But I'm still playing a fair amount of Adele and Moniak, and the weirdly priced Kevin Pillar. And I did throw Ozuna in a fair amount. It feels silly to play Max Kepler and leave $2,000 on the table when you can just play Ozuna. So I did play a fair amount of Ozuna as my favorite spend up. But I would rather get 3 guys in the $4,500 range now that we have the salary.
All right, let's see. Do we have enough likes for some home run picks here yet? We have 172. Come on. Still, we need 3 more with all this many people watching. We get to 200 likes. Tim, back me up. There'll be 350 people watching on a Saturday morning, and we'll get 200 likes with me barely even having to ask. So come on, let's bump these way up. There, now we have finally just hit it. Tim, I'll start with you for some taters. We'll go in order of the screen. Start with you for some taters. Who you got to hit a home run tonight?
I bet Jared Kelenic to hit a home run at plus 400. He is plus 500 on FanDuel. And then I also like Christian Walker at plus 500 on FanDuel as well.
All right. I like it for some Spidey bombs today. I got 3 of them. We're going back to the well, to the guy who let us down the other night with Riley Green. You can find him for plus 700 on BetMGM, plus 650 on DraftKings. Next up, we got Heimer Candelario, plus 470 on FanDuel for him. And finally, Jock Peterson, plus 450 on FanDuel. Cheese, who do you got for some homers today? No, you don't need to give us odds or anything because you just get random people and they always home run. So
yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't know what the odds are. I wouldn't know if they're good. But Hunter Goodman will hit a home run. Keston Hiura will hit a home run. And just more Rockies. We'll go with Brenton Doyle.
Would you believe me if I said in terms of sports betting today, not one of those players, including Keston Hira, have odds as good as Candelario or Jock Peterson at plus 450? They're all like, you make less money on those guys. That's how good you are at picking home run plays without even looking at the books. You pick like guy like Keston Hira, who you'd think would be like plus 800, plus 450. Vegas agrees with you.
Yeah, I figured that would be way off the board, but I don't know what the board is. So there you go.
That you should be making the board. Let's get over here to some QQs here. Well, I guess Kirkwood picked a fellow Juggalo bomb because he picked
double down
there as well. Let's go to some QQs here. Looking for the live stream, the Discord live stream chat first. Words are hard. Cheese, who would be your favorite FanDuel single entry stack tonight?
Rockies.
FanDuel single entry GPP, Tim, is 1,700 too much to leave on the table?
That's completely fine.
FanDuel cash, keeping it with you, Tim, Miranda and Kellenic or Olsen and Carroll?
Those were both really good. I think the first one.
I'm just we got the time, so I'm throwing this one to you for fun, Cheese. But it is a question in YouTube. Are the D-backs the ultimate leverage tonight?
Not at all. They would have been if Sale was pitching.
I want.
In addition to not wanting to use that word, obviously the word tilts me. But to be clear, no, even if you like that word, no, they are not leverage at all anymore.
Who would you choose tonight, Cheese, between the Rangers and the Reds in a GPP?
Rangers.
Who are your favorite Cleveland bats, Tim?
Yeah, I got them ranked. J Ram, Josh Naylor, Martinez, Kwan, and Bo Naylor.
I know you like them better than the Reds, but what does Cheese think about the Rangers as a stack?
He likes them a lot.
Yeah, they're my second favorite stack. Oh, I'm
Steve,
sorry. Was that for Cheese? Sorry about that.
It was for everyone, the whole group.
Can you throw the Juggalo bomb back up on the screen, Steve? Do me a favor, because Brandon McNair wants to know why Kirkwood and Cheese took a photo with Dean from college. I didn't realize that was Dean from college in the Juggalo bomb photo in the middle there with the beard. I guess I kind of see it because Dean gets the gray beard going and the gray. And
I mean, that definitely looks like the other guy. Definitely looks like Noto.
I was just gonna say, is that Noto is the other guy? Yeah. I was gonna be what I said.
That was the RG party for sure.
That's one of the very first RG parties with Kirkwood, Cheese, Dean, and Noto. Wonderful stuff there. DK, GPP, Cheese, Montero and Ketel Marte, or Diaz with Colt Keith?
Say that again.
Montero and Ketel Marte, or Diaz and Colt Keith?
The first one.
I think I know the answer here, Tim, but who do you like better, Dela Cruz or J-Ram in a GPP?
J-Ram.
Alan S. has got here late. Are you serious about Feltner on DK, Tim?
I am. He will be in my single entry team. I promise.
How about an Angels and Texas game stack? I love that. Well, don't think there's any reason to game stack it specifically for weather reason. That's the only reason you want to game stack. But if organically you just like both those teams and you're getting both of them, nothing wrong with that whatsoever. But it probably is the coldest game on the slate. So definitely not a game stack you would want to target for the purposes you'd usually think of a game stack. What else do we got here for questions? That's it on who's more likely to homer, do you think? Cheese, White, Vaughn, or Sheets?
Sheets.
Tim, DK Cash, Seager, or Dela Cruz?
They're both fantastic. I'm gonna go with Seager, but if you have the money, I have no issue with going to Cruz.
For Tim, I know it's Ryan Feltner, but Cheese, who would be your favorite single entry FanDuel pitcher?
Abbott with a Rocky stack.
Cheese, I'll keep it for you for this one. Is 6,400 too much to leave on the table?
No. It sounds ridiculous, but I've got that much on several lineups.
Tim, what do you think about Paddock for a FanDuel GPP? He's probably going to have a pitch count. He hasn't pitched in a few weeks, but he's also facing a White Sox team that had Tommy Pham scratched and Luis Robert not in the lineup.
Yeah, he's 9K though. I mean, there's several different pitchers that I would pitch over him. So I don't like that at all.
DK GPP is Abbott and Diaz pairing different enough with some Angels around a Texas stack. Cheese.
I mean, I don't think Abbott and Diaz is very different, but with Angels, I mean, yeah, that's not like super chalky.
Assuming Abbott is the I switched back to YouTube, Jeff Morgan. I'm sorry. I switched back to you did. Well, that's why I didn't see it. You didn't ask a question. You just made a statement. You said 3 different lineups, 3 different pitchers in FanDuel GPP. I just assumed that was what you were doing, not asking a question. But yeah, so you can absolutely have 3 different pitchers and 3 different FanDuel lineups. In fact, if I'm doing a 3-entry max on FanDuel, I usually try to get 3 different pitchers in those 3 different lineups, no matter what. But switching back to Discord here, DK Cash pitchers, Tim. I know you're like taking a shot on Feltner today, but Abbott is kind of, I think, the clear SP1 for DraftKings. If you weren't feeling so spicy, who do you think would be like Feltner, or who would be the other SP2 option?
See, that's the thing. I think the other option is John Gray, which I don't really love that much. So I'm sticking with Abbott and Feltner.
Cheese, how about you? If you were playing cash, who would be your SP2 on DraftKings?
That's such a weird question, man. How about if I say it would probably be Kiter Montero?
Yeah, it's a really hard question. It really is.
I think that's what I do too, and just spend up as much as I can on all the other positions. Doesn't even matter to me if I'm picking Cleveland against them in a cash setting. DK Cash, Ozuna, or Kwan, Tim?
Ozuna's probably the better play. You probably should play Ozuna over Kwan, but I'm playing Kwan.
FanDuel Cash, Abbott or Gray, definitely Abbott. DK Deep Field GPP Cheese, Sosa to finish a White Sox stack and leave 6,900 on the table, or play Jose Ramirez.
Sosa and leave it. Like, it feels ridiculous.
And leave it.
That's what you do.
Yeah.
If you were playing a 3-max on FanDuel today, Tim, who would be your 3 different pitchers? Feltner, and who else would you go with?
I think I would have to go with Abbott, and it's between Williams and Gray. I'd probably just take a chance on Gray.
If it was me, I think I would try that $6,500 Yeiber Diaz and just try and do like a Cleveland, Minnesota stack alongside it, something like that. One more question in the Discord. I'll swap back to YouTube. We are getting close to lock here, 5 minutes away. No, a few more coming in on YouTube. FanDuel single entry Cheese, J-Ram and Seager, or Dela Cruz and Buxton?
J-Ram and Seager.
Favorite stack to win it all? FanDuel GPP small fields. Cheese, yours was the Rockies. Tim, who would be yours?
I'd go Cleveland.
Is it okay to play Feltner as an SP and DK Cash and have him paired against several Cincinnati bats, Tim? Dela Cruz is obviously fine in there, but like,
yeah, I would go 2, not several, but 2 is okay.
Switching back to YouTube, 2 main pitchers for tonight. Well, on DraftKings, it's Abbott for sure, and we're looking at probably either Ryan Feltner or Montero going all the way down to 4K. I have a lineup with 4,100 left and one with 3,500 left on DK, several with 1,500. Yes, that'll be very different today. Who do you think? What do you think of a Riley Green one-off today? Love Riley Green. He is a Spidey bomb. Kalanick or Langford on FanDuel? Cheese.
I like them both. I think I would take Langford.
Cheese, assuming you will be very low owned tonight in a GPP, are you okay with Brian C playing you in the outfield?
Because you don't need the salary, like I'm okay as a punt for the 0. I think tonight's not the night for it, but I appreciate it.
Twins or Rockies catcher? So Elias Diaz or I guess Goodwin maybe, or Ryan Jeffers on DK today, Tim?
I would prefer Jeffers.
Have any one of you guys taken down a contest this season? Yeah, she's just shipped everything literally the day before yesterday. QQ DK large field tournament. So it's been literally under 48 hours since one of the people on this show took down a tournament. DK large field tournament is Gray and Diaz at pitcher with no money left, different enough to win it all. I mean, it completely depends who your stack is, but Gray will be very highly owned and probably shouldn't play him. Diaz much lower owned. Josh Smith or Langford in a Rangers stack, Tim?
Like them both. I think I'd go Langford.
So tonight, Bill T wants to know, Cheese, will using all the salary tonight make me different?
No,
that's still probably, despite it being,
because I think a lot of people who hand build are still going to want to use it, and I think there are enough people that use the builder who just always put the salary up that I think that'll still happen. So I still think the chalky build is going to have all the expensive bats.
All right, I like it. That seems to have done it for all the QQs. We are a minute and a half out for lock here. Make sure you get your lineups in, leaving salary on the table. It's no problem. I believe, are we still waiting on a couple lineups? We just had the Rangers. We just had the Braves. So we should have everything now, if I'm not mistaken. So we should be good. There's no weather issues to worry about tonight. Good luck, everyone. On behalf of myself, Tim, Cheese, Steve behind the scenes, thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. Peace.